La 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 la. Good evening, everyone. How are you? And welcome to the Diana Wright Show live online. We welcome those of you from around the world and in the United States. And we start off with not so good news. The president of Venezuela, Hugo Chavez, died this afternoon. And we're not sure if he actually died this afternoon, but that's what we were told. And he was 58 years old. Not that old at all. Very bombastic, controversial president of Venezuela. But indeed, America still takes oil, buys oil from Venezuela. And today, something kind of strange happened in Venezuela before he actually died. Or we don't know if it's when he died, they decided to come out and do this crazy press conference led by the vice president, whose name is Nicolas Maduro. He is, first of all, he kicked out 2 of our diplomatic people, and then he proceeded to accuse the United States and the enemy for giving cancer to the president, to Hugo Chavez. Now, I didn't know that America has a way of giving people cancer or giving heads of state cancer, but I just think this is absolutely crazy and insane for someone to accuse the United States of doing something of that nature and then kicking out your diplomats. You know, I mean, wow, these people are really on another planet, are they? Or is it that Mr. Maduro is kind of worried that he now has to call another election to see who will run the country, and the person who actually lost to Chavez might just win? I mean, people are just crazy. I mean, you know, I looked at that photograph that they had on floating around with his 2 daughters, and I thought he was actually dead from that particular picture. Yeah, and that's exactly what I was thinking. And basically, when I talked about him today in my earlier show, that was what was going through my mind. Because I looked at that picture and he looked like someone that is just lying there, and they're posing and smiling to take your eye off of him in the bed or wherever he was lying down. So I don't know about these, you know, these leaders who take on power in the Caribbean, in Africa, and several places, who just never seem to want to give up power. And that's why I keep referencing Pope Benedict XVI. He gave up something that he could have had until he died. But in his humility, he gave it up. So what is wrong with all these leaders around the world who want to be, you know, eternally the head of their countries? And it's happening a lot of countries are going through the same thing. So we have to now watch very pointedly to see what's going on in Venezuela, because when they're going to accuse, according to Mr. Nicolas Maduro, he says, and it's so interesting, the silly things they do when their people are starving. He's saying now that he's claiming that President Hugo Chavez got cancer from an attack by the enemy. Maduro says an investigation has been launched by a special commission to investigate if someone gave him cancer? Come on. I mean, you know, I hope he's not going to be the head of state, because for him to even take the time to put a commission together to investigate the fact that the enemy gave cancer to Hugo Chavez, absolutely ludicrous. Wow. He's been going back and forth to Cuba for treatment for this cancer. He's had chemotherapy, radiation, 4 surgeries, and was clinging to life from yesterday. Actually, I thought he was clinging to life from he came back from Cuba. You know, and for people to be throwing around innuendos and conclusions that makes absolutely no sense. And if he's thinking that President Obama and his administration are trying to get rid of Chavez, and so they might have poisoned him while he's in the military hospital in Caracas. So how did America come there to poison him and give him cancer? Wow, these people just come out with some far-fetched things, and you wonder if they are sane or they're just crazy. And that to me is just crazy. How can someone else give you cancer? How do you get cancer? How does someone put cancer? How does the enemy? Because, a lot of church people are like that too. They like to talk, everything that happens to them, they go, oh, it's the devil. Do you take any responsibility for anything that happens to you? And church people are very guilty of this. Everything that happens to them in their life, it's the enemy and it's the devil. Did you contribute at all to this? So is the devil running your life? I would hope not. So obviously Mr. Maduro believes that the enemy is so powerful that that enemy, or whomever the enemies are, they could have given cancer to Hugo Chavez. Absolutely insane. Okay? Wow. And sequestration has actually hit the White House. And I will have to just read you all of this stuff that's coming out of the White House right now. But so the White House cancels all the tours to the White House. So if you're one of those people who like to go on your vacation and tour the White House and the Capitol, or you go on those school trips or stuff like that, you can't go right now. So let's read you the drama of what's going on in Washington right now. The White House is canceling tours of the president's famous abode starting next week, saying the budget cuts that went into effect last week are to blame. A phone recording on the White House line when you call visitors informs callers that the White House tours will be canceled starting this weekend. And this is what the recording says. Due to staffing reductions resulting from sequestration, we regret to inform you that the White House tours will be canceled effective Saturday, March 9th, 2013, until further notice. Then it continues. The recording says, unfortunately, we will not be able to reschedule affected tours. So if you were scheduled to have a tour, you ain't gonna have no tour. So just scrap that off your list. We very much regret having to take this action, particularly during the popular spring touring season. The reason for the cancellations? This was now the Secret Service's responding to this. An official with the Secret Service says the reason for the cancellations is because the uniformed division officers normally tasked with securing the tours will be reassigned to other security posts at the White House. The move will reduce overtime costs and may reduce the number of furloughs the Secret Service could potentially face, according to this official. It is unclear how many uniformed division officers will be impacted by the sequester. The Office of Management and Budget calculated that the Secret Service may need to cut as much as $84 million from its budget due to the cuts. Though the White House made the ultimate decision to suspend the tours, their conclusion was based on staffing decisions the Secret Service has been forced to make. Okay, let's hear what the Republicans have to say about this now. The move, which Republicans paint as a publicity stunt, prompted at least one proposed legislative fix from a GOP congressman today. In an amendment to a GOP stopgap budget bill, headed to the floor later this week, Representative Louis Gohmert of Texas, of course you know he's a Republican, he suggested, listen to this, that no funds from the bill be used to transport the president to or from a golf course. Did you hear that? Until public tours of the White House resume. Now, how does that sound to you? Doesn't that sound to you like vengeance is mine, revenge is mine, so I'm gonna stop this president from being secured when he goes to play his golf, which he does too many times that offend the Republicans? And to my memory, George W. was always on vacation in Texas, on his ranch, Camp David. So, what's the problem with the president playing his golf? Does he not need to relax after all of you have spent the last 4 years trying to get rid of him and trying to block every single thing he tries to do for the people of this United States of America? Did Mitch McConnell, a Republican in the Senate, not say that his number one goal is to make President Barack Obama a one-term president? Is Mitch McConnell and the Republicans there to do that, or are they there to do their work? Which one is it? We'd like to know. Continuing here. So, House Administration Committee Chair, that's Candace Miller, she's a Republican from Michigan, she said in a statement that the canceled tours are wrong and invited tourists to Washington, D.C. to tour the Capitol instead. Who wants to tour the Capitol? People want to see where the president lives. I believe, she says, closing the doors of the White House to the American people is wrong. I want to let those Americans planning a trip to Washington, D.C. know that the Capitol will remain open and encourage those wishing to visit to contact their members of Congress or the Capitol Visitors Center to schedule a tour. Now, I would not want to be calling my congressman about any tours. I would like to be calling him about the sequester and the fact that they're planning to close the government down. That's what I think people should be calling the Republicans for. Not about a tour. How important is a tour when the economy is falling apart? But the Dow has hit the ceiling today. So how does the Dow go up and the economy goes like the turtle slow? How does that work? I'm sure lots of people would like to know that. Welcome again to the Diana Wright Show live online. We welcome you to join the conversation if you give us a call at 561-228-1921. That's 561-228-1921. And don't forget, coming up April 30th is the National I Love Me Day. That's the goal of this show, is to try to get each and every one of you to love yourself, because I do believe and I know for sure that most of the problems that we have in our lives is because we don't love ourselves and we're trying to be someone else. We're trying to gauge to get someone else's life, envy our friends and foes. So, let's continue. As required by law, President Obama, Barack Obama, ordered the automatic cuts into effect last Friday night. The broad budget reductions came after Congress and the administration failed to reach an agreement to avert the sequester. So, I guess they're telling us that lots of things will be felt. This is the beginning of what you will feel if you'd like to go to Washington to tour the White House. You will not be able to go as of this weekend. The doors will be closed because those guards have to go someplace else. Simple. And if in case we have forgotten, and the Republicans seem to be forgetting, especially Speaker Boehner, the president cannot pass legislation He can only come up with things he wants to happen, what he wants the country to look like. But he cannot pass any legislation. So Mr. Boehner keeps trying to send things back to the White House and send this back to the Congress. But to my knowledge, and based on what I know, the little bit I know, legislation begins in the Congress. So I'm not quite sure if Mr. Boehner is kind of on the sleepy crying side or not so sleepy crying side, or he just don't give a hoot. What happens? Because he is so bent on telling you that there will be no more tax cuts for the wealthy. But indeed, the president is not asking for tax cuts for the wealthy anymore. He's asking to close loopholes and cancel all those, subsidies that wealthy people get. And why would you want to keep all those things? Yet I hear all the Republicans talking about cutting Head Start and cutting this and cutting that and cutting Medicare and those entitlements. Have they thought about the fact that you actually pay into Medicare when you earn your income? And you pay into Social Security? The government is actually doing you absolutely no favor. And they keep trying to scare everyone. Social Security is solvent for umpteen years to come. And why weren't they making such a ruckus when George W. was in power and he was taking us to all those wars? And then there was Medicare that did not get paid for. Why was no one saying anything, including the Democrats? So why? All of a sudden, everything that Barack Obama does is wrong, even if it is something that the Republicans agree with, it's wrong. As long as Barack Obama says it, it is not happening. Is this the way we're going to continue for the next 4 years? Well, I tell you what. This will be a very sad ending if this is how we are going to continue. Obviously, the Dow Jones Industrials doesn't really care about the sequester and John Boehner and his speakership and McConnell and his trying to make sure he wins back his seat in Kentucky and slinging a whole lot of mud on Ashley Judd. She didn't even say she's going to run yet and they start slinging the mud already. Is he that insecure about losing his seat? He's old enough, he needs to go home and retire anyway. How about that? Republicans keep talking about they want smaller government. Make it small, go home, retire. When you retire, the government shrinks because your salary will not be coming out of the pocket of the government. Wow, these guys, they just seem to just want the power. Is it all about the power and not about the people? Well, I believe that all of us should not vote at the next election. Come 2014, everyone should stay home. And no one should go to the polls and see what they do. What would Mitch McConnell do if no one turns up in Kentucky to vote? No one turns up anywhere to vote anywhere in 2014. What would you guys do? Okay, I'm going to start that campaign. I'm trying to tell each and every one of you in the United States, wherever you are and you have someone to vote for in 2014, stay home. Do not vote. And let's see what they do. Because they don't give a crap about us. They only think about their next election and their next re-election. And how much funding they're going to get from the Koch brothers. The Democrats are not just free about that either. They are guilty too. But at least they're doing a better job. It seems that they are. My goodness. You run a whole country with over 200 million people? By revenge? By envy? By jealousy? They envy the president for just going to play some golf? That's what it is. It's nothing else but that. And that Republican man from Texas, what's his story? I'm sure no one is stopping him from going to play golf. Why is he so jealous of the president going to play a little golf? The guy needs to relax. And if you don't want to pay for it, ask him to pay for it out of his pocket. I'm sure he probably will. Because you guys are just so disrespectful. I never heard any Republican speaking like this when Bill Clinton was in power, or when George Bush was in power. But all of a sudden, because he's a black man, he cannot go and relax and play some golf. I am sure if we check the record, George W. took many more vacations and golf trips than Barack Obama. I am here to tell you, I don't know the exact number, but I know that I know that I know that the president, Barack Obama, has taken less vacations and golf outings than George W. We need to stop running the country on revenge, man. This is just bad news. Whew. Wow. Anyway, just to lighten the mood a little bit, and thank you again, and welcome to the Diana Wright Show live online. Our email address is dianawrighttv@gmail.com, and of course we'd ask you to like us on Facebook and give us a thumbs up, because we realize and hope and hear now that teenagers are tired of Facebook. So, not this time to be tired. You need to love yourself, so you need to be persuaded and cajoled and encouraged, okay, by this program. So don't get fed up of Facebook right now. You can't afford it. Anyway, just what I wrote down for you to read this evening. Great faith equals peace. When you have faith and you believe and you trust God, there's a peace that comes over you. I cannot explain it. I can just ask you to experience it by being faithful, having faith. And I'm truly wondering out there tonight, how many of you listening, watching, and even when you watch later on, if you don't get a chance to do it now, you watch it on the website or after, or you go to YouTube. What is the miracle that God has performed in your life? We'd love to hear it. How desperate did you come? How low did you go? And how did you survive? That would be my question this evening to you. What is the miracle in your life that was performed by the Almighty God through His Son Jesus? And you're so thankful and elated about it that you want to share it with the rest of the world. So here's the opportunity to call and let us know. Email us and let us know. Share the miracles in your life. Because I tell you what, when you share that miracle, there's going to be someone that is motivated, that is helped, that is reassured, that moves from their blue zone and comes into their green just by hearing what you have gone through. So as I continue to read it here, it says, figure out yourself and understand yourself. Be your own psychiatrist. Sit on your own couch, talk to yourself. We all know pain. No matter what your pain is, there is someone out there with equal or greater pain. Because we always seem to think that our problems are all so insurmountable when we're experiencing it. But in the scheme of things, all you have to do is think that someone else has the same pain as you have, or there is someone out there for sure who has a bigger, worse pain than you are experiencing. So each time you feel sorry for yourself, just think of that. Think of parents who send their children to school and they never come back home. Think of children who send their children not just to little school, but to college and they don't come back home. Just think about that. Husbands go to work and never return. Wives go to work and never return. It happens every day. So we have to be mindful of how deep we go and wallow in our own pain without remembering that there's always someone else that's suffering more than we are. So keep that in mind as you go about your evening and whatever you do, because it is important indeed for you to do so. Reminding you of another date that we'd like you to circle on your calendar and save that date. That is October 5th. And that date will be controlled by Save a Life Jamaica Foundation, giving you an opportunity to save a life, not just in Jamaica, but around the world. Novelet Gale is the president of the organization, of the foundation, and as she gives me the information, as they decide what they're doing, we know already, but we can't just spill the beans all at once. We got to keep you at the edge of your seat and make you wonder, what is this event going to be? You can take a guess. I welcome guessers. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can make that contribution of $20 to the foundation. And the foundation has a website. Save a Life Jamaica Foundation is online, so you can check them out and you can make a contribution. If you can't make the event October 5, we welcome that contribution. Also, I guess this is part of the whole sequester thing. I'm not so sure, but maybe it is. The TSA will soon allow passengers to carry small knives on board. Now, why did they not decide that long ago when they try to make me pay $20 to put my set of knife and forks that was not opened by no means, was all sealed up from the store with the receipt and everything? And I had to go back outside to put it in the luggage. And now they decide that they're going to allow knives, but get the catch now. There's a catch. The knives must be less than 2.36 inches long and less than 1/2 inch wide. Now, my suggestion to you, just forget about the knives. Because for you to go be measuring the knife to see how long and how wide it is, that's too much wasted energy, in my opinion, you see. Larger knives, ones with locking blades and molding handles, will continue to be prohibited. Razor blades and box cutters, they're still prohibited. Other items to be permitted, though? I found this to be quite curious. Sports equipment including billiard cues, ski poles, hockey sticks, lacrosse sticks, and 2 golf clubs. Now, I just imagine someone swinging them golf clubs and them hockey sticks and them lacrosse sticks. And where are they planning to put that on the plane? Because if they're allowing you to take it on, then okay, maybe you can't take it on the plane. They weren't clear about that. And I kind of wondered about that. And all of this takes effect when? April 25th. Just before my April 30th and my I Love Me Day, National I Love Me Day crusade. Yes, just before that day. Well, Douglas Laird, president of, he was not very happy about all of this, the TSA acting like they're doing something great and wonderful. Douglas Laird, who is the president of aviation consulting firm that is called Laird and Associates, and he's a former head of security for Northwest Airlines, he said this: after 9/11, TSA overreached, putting restrictions in place in the heat of the moment, he said. That excluded those in other countries. Other countries did not, because if you go to Europe, you don't have to take your shoes off anymore if you're coming back out of the country. Yeah, no shoes off. I was attempting to take mine off and they said, no, you don't need to take your shoes off. So Laird is not impressed. He added that the TSA is just catching up with the rest of the world. So I'm trying to figure out, though, all those things. If you have to go measure a knife, and just leave the knife at home and forget about it. I would not hasten to take no lacrosse stick and no hockey stick with me either, because when you get there, there'll be something that comes up. And why didn't they tell me that I don't need to take my shoes off anymore, and I don't need to take off my jacket anymore for them to put me in front of the scanner that will indeed show everything? So are they working on those things, or are they not? I would rather be left with my jacket on than know that there's a guy with a knife that is 2.36 inches long and 1/2 inch wide. Seriously, which one you think is more hazardous to your health and your travel? Just imagine all those guys bringing all those knives on board. I'm not so sure this was the best decision to make for the TSA. We would like to be wearing our shoes in the airport and not taking off my shoes and putting it on that floor that a million people have already touched. I actually asked one of the TSA people one day, how often do they clean the floors? I'm serious. He laughed, but he said, they do it pretty often. Because I'm not feeling good about taking off my shoes. And especially that carpet that they have, where that scanner machine is. How dirty is that thing? I could get sick just walking through that, with all those people parading and going through the airport, through the security. So they're thinking about knives when we're thinking about our feet and our jackets. Because I see all those women backing off their jackets and taking off their earrings and your watch and your chain. And who knew? What am I going to put in a little chain that I have on my neck? I'm still trying to figure that one out. So you have to literally disrobe when you get to the airport. So I tell you what, I just think, somebody's going to one of these days just turn up nude and stick it to the TSA, all right? Anyway, here is something that I thought was interesting. Democratic Governor Mike Beebe of Arkansas, he vetoed a controversial bill yesterday that would have made abortion illegal after 12 weeks. The governor said it was blatantly unconstitutional. The Republicans, of course, Arkansas has a Republican legislature. They're the majority there. And I still insist on asking the question, why are Republicans so obsessed with women's VJJs, their abortions, their birth control? Isn't a woman capable enough to know if she wants to have an abortion or if she doesn't? Should she be asking the permission of the government if she can or she can't? Isn't that person the one that's going to be standing before God to face her own judgment? Why are the Republicans so fighting this? And then when you check their lives, they're living a terrible life and have lots of skeletons in their closets. Just think of all of them. While they were trying to kill Bill Clinton, lots of them were there having affairs themselves. So what do we do about these conservative people who are so holy and so perfect and so obsessed with the female body? I don't know what it is. I truly don't know what it is. So I continue here. Arkansas already has one of the most restrictive abortion laws in the United States after the Republican-led legislature overrode Bibi's vote of a similar bill last week that set the legal abortion threshold of 20 weeks gestation. Most states, I don't know if you know this, but most states in the U.S. allow abortion until the 22nd to the 24th week. So I'm not quite sure why they're so obsessed about this abortion thing. A woman should not have to ask the government permission to do anything with her own body. She owns that body. The state does not own it. The federal government does not own your body. So why? Why are it always seems to be a Republican, because here they are fighting this Democratic governor and he is sticking it to them, vetoing the bill. But don't get too happy too quick because the law took effect immediately when he did the veto, or when the Republicans did what they did. So the new measure would be the most restrictive in the U.S. if the legislature overrides the governor's veto. So if they go ahead now and change what the governor did, then that would not take effect for 90 days after the legislature adjourns in March or early April. So for the women in Arkansas, I feel your pain. I'm sorry for you, because I don't believe that any man or any government has the right to tell you what to do with your own body. It is wrong. It is wrong. It is wrong. Whether you believe in abortions or you don't believe in abortions, that's not the point. The point is every individual should be at least be in control of their own bodies. Lawmakers only need a simple majority, just a simple majority that they need in Arkansas, to override the veto that Bibi did on Monday. So we have to watch that one to see what's going on, because I'm not feeling, I'm not understanding, I'm not getting why are the Republicans so obsessed with a female and their vajayjays. Alrighty, okay, we continue here with some health news. Okay, not good news for women. We're dying sooner. That's not a good thing. We used to outlive all the guys. So what's going on right now? They're saying the reason for this is because a lot of women who live in the rural counties of the U.S., they're smoking more, they're less educated, and it is actually a disturbing trend. And they're saying that the research found that women aged 75 and younger are dying at higher rates than previous years. Many of the deaths are in rural communities in the South and in the West. But for men, life expectancy has held steady or improved in almost all counties that they researched. All right, the study done by the journal Health Affairs, and they're blaming it, of course, they're putting the blame on higher smoking rates. Obesity is one of them, and less education. So this doesn't look very good for women, but they said that women have lived longer than men for many, many years. But if someone is born right now, if you are a girl, your possibility of living until 81 is quite good. And for boys, it's 76. So even though this is a group of older women, the young people that are being born now, the babies, they still have women living a little longer. So I was not very happy about that news, but anyway. And we see that Lindsey Graham and Senator John McCain are, getting themselves ready for another fight for the nomination of Brennan to head the CIA. They are sharpening their tools and sharpening their pipes, and Senator McCain says he has his questions written down already, several questions that he'd like to ask. And of course, Senator Lindsey Graham, he's still obsessed with Benghazi. Who knew? When is he going to allow Benghazi to give him a stroke? Or a heart attack? Or something of that nature? Because he is like totally obsessed with Benghazi. And he is not going to vote to nominate Brennan, the president's choice for CIA head, until he gets questions answered from the White House about Benghazi. These guys are just simply amazing, if you ask me. Simply amazing. They continue to be bruised and sore about Benghazi. But they are forgetting that Benghazi is part of the diplomatic corps, that they vetoed and voted against the money to secure the same people they are trying to protect when they're dead. Why did they not protect them while they were alive? Stevens would be here with us if they didn't cut the budget. Ryan and all of them. They voted to cut, all the Republicans voted to cut the budget for the security of the embassies around the world. Benghazi was one of them. But I don't know what they're trying to find out and what they're trying to dig. Like the gentleman who just wrote a book about telling all that, Hillary Clinton, Secretary of State, had to fight her way through the barricades at the White House, couldn't get to the president. Well, I guess the president and Hillary Clinton, they were lying on that 60-minute interview because they said they got on well. I noted that Mrs. Clinton did say that some of your staff take things more personal than you do as the candidate, and some of the wives do take it and keep it and store it. But shouldn't we get rid of that? The campaign is done. What was said was said. Everybody said bad things about each other and bruised each other's egos, and even made Secretary of State Clinton cry. So why are we going to hold a grudge? And that young man who wrote the book, he's determined to get his book out, of course, yes. They'll accommodate him. So I'll tell you then about my book that's coming out soon. It's called Deadly Negligence. And when you read it, I promise you, you'll be sitting at the edge of your seat to understand how life can change in a snap of your finger. And though you might not have any troubles right now, there's some trouble lurking somewhere around the corner. Because everyone in this life, everyone has pain. As I said earlier, everyone has struggles. Everyone, just don't know what's going to happen the next moment in their lives. And some of us go and dress up and go around and pretend as if life is so wonderful, but yet we go home and we cry, we can't pay our bills. We fight with our children. So, there's lots to go around. But you need to have faith and find your peace. Because when you have faith and when you have truly given it all to God, all the burdens that He asks you to give to Him, and you actually give it, because some of us love our burdens, we love to keep it, we love to hang on to it. But if we do give our burdens away to Him as He asked, we will find such peace. I can go down with my shoulders, because you actually find such peace when you decide to say, God, I cannot do this on my own anymore. Take it. It's yours. And when you have friends or family members or your spouse or your significant other or your children and you have a disagreement, and when you truly decide to let it go, you find peace. And peace to me is so important, which leads you to joy. So wherever you are tonight, whatever you're feeling at this particular moment, whether you're around the world or in the United States, I plead with you to find faith, and therefore you'll find peace in your lives. Sometimes it takes a longer time for some people to find that peace, but I promise you, when you find it, nothing bugs you anymore. Yeah, the guy that drives across you in the traffic and, creates a scene and all that will tick you off. And yes, you are allowed to be pissed. And you're allowed to be ticked off. But make sure when you're ticked off there and you don't carry it home with you. Yeah? They say that you should make sure you go to bed without any anger. That's a good thing. Because normally, when I'm having disagreements with people or anything, I can't sleep. And I love to sleep. I want to sleep. I cherish my sleep. So I choose the route of finding peace in that route. That's the route I take. So I encourage you this evening to take the time to find your faith in whatever it is that you're asking for, and then take the time to find peace. Peace is so good. It's a wonderful feeling to be peaceful, to be at peace with yourself, with your success or your failure. If you're failed, start over. If you're successful, continue and praise and thank God for the success. But we all have something to be thankful for. We're alive. We're not dead. Most of us watching or listening or seeing this Diana Wright show live online, I'm sure you're healthy. But if you're not, just pray and have faith and see it happen. You have to believe and trust along with the faith. And you have to do something. You have to help yourself. I was listening to someone saying that, they went into surgery and the doctor said, oh, it's going to be hard to move. And the person said, they said to the doctor, just tell me what to do. I'll do it. And they got out of the hospital bed and started walking. And the doctor was astonished because he made up his mind that he was going to conquer whatever it was that was trying to keep him from walking again. And then he walked. And the doctor was amazed because it's called determination, commitment, faith, and believe in yourself and love yourself and know that anything that you put your mind to, you can actually achieve it. And anything you can conceive, you can achieve it. So, anyway, as we come on to the end of the program, we're going to look into relationships again. But I did, general relationships today. I want to just take a look at what they're saying that you need to do to improve your relationship as a couple, as a married couple, or some may involve, just in case you're just a significant other at the moment. Ways to improve your relationship. Don't try to change what you fell for. I thought that is the best one on the list. Because a lot of us, we meet people and we say, oh, he drinks a little bit too much, but I'll change him. No, you can't. If he's an alcoholic, he's going to be an alcoholic. Unless he decides or she decides that they have had enough and they're going to seek help because they need help. No one is cured or fixed until they acknowledge that they need fixing. or curing. So that one I thought was absolutely fantastic. Cut the apron strings, meaning don't have your mother running your house, whether on the male side or the female side. Your mother is not part of the household where the decisions are concerned unless she is asked her opinion. So cut the strings of your parents when you get married. Men especially, I'm speaking to you. And women, don't let your mother keep telling you things that you don't want to really do, but she's insisting that you do it. Run your household yourself. So cut the apron strings. Okay. Prioritize your health. That means you should go out and exercise together, take a walk together, run together, whatever it is that suits your fancy when it comes to exercise. And I'm going to drink some water. Okay. And be silly together. You know, like play little crazy games and stuff like that together. Keep growing apart. You know, when you lie in the bed and it's a king size bed and you're there and the other person is there, you need to close that space. You need to be close together. Yeah? Don't be sleeping at one end of the bed that you might even fall off. Okay? So, stop asking, and this is ladies most of all. Stop asking your husband, do I look fat? Do you want him to lie or you want the truth? If he tells you the truth, you're going to get mad. So why you want to ask that question? So we're asking you not to ask that question again. Ever, ever, ever. Don't nag, ladies. Maybe you should try to make a trick or two instead of nagging the person. Just try to trick him. Like a lady was giving me a funny joke about her husband coming home and she asked for some money. And he said, I don't have any money. So when he went to sleep, she went to his wallet and there was lots and lots and lots of money. So she took some of it. And the next morning, he woke up and checked his wallet and asked for his money. So she said, I thought you did not have any money. Why are you asking me for? How could I have taken something that you didn't have? So that is something that you need to keep in mind. Gentlemen, when you're telling your wives you don't have any money, do not leave your wallet in sight. So they can actually trick you. Okay. Don't skimp on the pillow talk. So when you go to bed at nights, have conversation. Talk to your partner. Well, sometimes you find you're talking and they're sleeping, but maybe you can get a few words in. Because if you have husbands like mine that touch the pillow and their slumber is gone, they're fast asleep, you might have some problems with that one. Okay? Give each other the once over. Meaning, tell your significant other or your partner how good they look, how handsome they are today. Something nice to make them feel good, because it's important. Be honest. This one is for the women mostly, I think. Be honest, be vocal about finances. Maybe it's both people though. Because why are you afraid to ask about money? You can't do much without money these days, you know. Yeah, you can improvise and try to make things a little less expensive and all that kind of stuff. But you must discuss finance. And I don't think you should be discussing finance when you get married. I think you should be discussing it before you get married. And then while you're married, you need to keep track of what's going on. If your husband is managing the checkbook, then you need to know what's going on with the checkbook. If you're handling the checkbook, he needs to know what's going on with the checkbook. So keep that in mind. Compliment his skills as a lover. Well, ladies, it is said that men like to be complimented as a lover. So you might want to just consider to do that. Indulge each other's passion. So if he likes to watch football or play golf or whatever, don't decide that you're going to go do something else. Try to do what he does. And gentlemen, when your wife wants to go shopping, you need to go with her. Even if you have to sit in a little corner on a stool somewhere, you need to go and engage. Tell her that dress looks good, or say, don't buy that, it's hideous. That color doesn't look good on you. Be part of it. Now, my husband is wonderful about that. He will come shopping with you, but, he wants you to shop for him while he's in the store. But he'll go. Okay? So I'm inviting all you husbands out there around the world and in the United States watching the Diana Wright Show live right now. Please go shopping with your wife. Stop talking about she takes too long to shop. Spend some time together. And see, the experts are saying it too. So indulge each other's passion. And I know most women, retail therapy is what they love best. I'm not always in the mood to go shop, but I like shopping. But because I'm always hunting a deal, you see. I'm always looking for the sale price because I buy nothing at full price. So I'm always hunting for the deal. So if she wants to hunt for the deal, help her hunt. And don't be such a Scrooge about that shopping thing. I go into TJ Maxx and I see the husband sitting down and they're sighing and they're walking around and looking like they're lost in the store. But there's a men's department. Go look in it. And stop being such a Groucho Marx about the whole thing. Anyway, next one. Let him go. Don't track his every move. You don't have to know that he's down the street, in the store, coming home. You don't need to know every move he's making. He just left his office for lunch and he's back now. Woo! Too much. A call a day that will, say, hi, honey, how you doing? I'm still okay and everything is good. That's fine. But don't be obsessive about that thing, knowing every move each other make. And I hate when people want to know, where are you now? Okay. Ask the right questions and allow each other to speak. And when each person is speaking, you need to listen and shut up. Listen while your partner is speaking. It's important. And don't try to fix everything that the person is complaining about. Sometimes they just want you to listen and agree with them too. You dare not better take up for the person that they're mad with, because you'll be dead. Okay? All right. Have a secret language. Like when you're at a party, you either touch each other's hand or you have an eye movement that says, I'm ready to leave, or, this is boring or whatever, and nobody actually knows you're communicating. That's a good thing. The experts are suggesting that you have your own language as a couple. So, I like that. Yes, I do that. Get yourself in the mood. Ladies, they say you can't say you're not in the mood. You need to get yourself in the mood no matter how tired you are. It will do the relationship and the marriage good. Be biased about him. One thing should not cause you to cancel out everything. So, if your husband does one thing, do not take that one thing and make the whole thing of him bad. Guilty. I'm guilty of that. And I'm sure a lot of women are guilty about that. But it depends on the degree of what happened. So you just take that one thing and you just get mad about everything else. You shouldn't do that. That's what the experts say. So get a little privacy, they're asking you to do. Yeah, asking you to get a little privacy in your own house. That means you should have a little, my house is too small. I ain't got no corners to hide here. Or no little place to go hide. What are you going to do? Lock up in the bathroom if you live in a condo? I don't know. I think that one is a little kind of funny. Because if you don't have a lot of space, Where are you going to find that privacy for yourself? Because what they're saying for you to do is that each of you need to have a little place that you can go and not be bothered. I don't have that kind of space in my house. Maybe you want to buy me a bigger house, then I'll have some space, but right now I don't. So I'm not so sure I can feel that one. Anyway, don't forget the dates that I talked about earlier. April 30th, National I Love Me Day, declared by the Diana Wright Show live online. And don't forget October 5, October 5th, it's a Saturday. And the event is going to happen in the evening, so you can do all that you need to do in the daytime and just get ready for the evening. And we will keep you posted as to what Save a Life Jamaica Foundation has in store for you. Yeah? I promise you, it will be wonderful. It will be a fantastic event, good music and all the things and the trimmings that come with it. But if you want to guess what the theme will be, then go to my Facebook page and tell me what you think the theme will be for the event that will allow you to save a life by making a contribution of $20 come October 5. You can start saving now, and I don't care what kind of coin you save, you can get to 20 by October 5th. No excuses on this one, because this is for a good cause, and this is Save a Life Jamaica Foundation, and not just Jamaica. She just did that because it sounds good. She's saving lives everywhere the need is. So on that note, I will say to you, thank you so much for joining me this evening. Hope I could have lifted you up out of your destitute, blue self. Actually, am I wearing blue? Yes, I am, but the pink is bright, so that cheers you up. Yeah? And I hope I just raised you up a little bit. Hope I made you laugh a little. And if you need to cry, just cry. Cry. But when you finish crying, I want you to go to that mirror and look in it and say, I love me. And if you have children, make the effort to let them love themselves. Teach them how to do it. Let them look in the mirror and say to themselves. And it doesn't matter what you have and what you don't have. It's irrelevant. Because remember, as I said the other day, when we die, Chavez, he was a powerful president of Venezuela, raging against the United States. But now he's gone. And guess what? He's going to have the same amount of real estate in the ground as you and I will have when we go. And it doesn't matter how rich you are, how poor you are. Yes, the wealthy might have a little mausoleum and all those columns and wonderful things and marble around. But in the earth, we all have the same amount of real estate. So on that note, I say thank you again for joining me this evening on the Diana Wright Show live online. And we look forward to doing the same thing tomorrow at 10:30 right here. If you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it's yours. If it doesn't, it was never, never yours. So ciao, au revoir, adios, and goodbye.